4 days ago, I had a wild thought. Could the river Mersey be connected to the Egyptian pharaoh, Mersyankh? Wouldn't that be something? The river Mersey runs east to west from the Manchester region to Liverpool. We will begin by looking at the Mersey's tributary rivers, the Goyt and Ethero, as these were researched before I had any suspicion on the naming of the Mersey. Ethero Valley lies to the right of Manchester and has many interesting stone edifices. Roman bridges, castle remains, water mills, viaducts and basins. Giant blocks of stone litter the landscape, as if by some great destruction. So what of the name Ethero? Wikipedia says, the name Ethero could be of Brittonic Celtic origin and derived from the ancient term ad-or, meaning watercourse. But eth and ad-or are two different root words. The name most likely comes from edero, meaning flock in Hebrew. As the river winds its way under Manchester going westward, it passes through the Goyt Valley. This area used to be nicknamed the Valley of the Kings by the Stockport Council, for its plans to build pyramids, as a business park. Nobody can be sure why. Its location is on U Street. Newspaper reports at the time state that planners had rejected any connection between the design and the Egyptian pyramids. They claimed it was of Aztec origin even though they were hanging on to the address Kings Valley. Meanwhile, the architect is said to have agreed there was an influence of both Egyptian and Mayan about his pyramid. Did the council have secret knowledge about the area? But this isn't the only 1980s blue glass pyramid. There's one in Memphis, Tennessee too. Funded by a man named Tigris. River Tigris, often called the cradle of civilization, looks very alike how Stockport would have been pre-Roman era. I thought that was an interesting coincidence. The original idea for the Memphis Pyramid was conceived in the 1950s by a man called Mark Hartz. It was meant to be 3 pyramids, as at Giza. The project didn't come to pass, but in the mid-1980s, his son encouraged him to renew the plans, even though they had no money to bring it to reality. They just thought it was a cool idea. And so John went around to try to get interest. And everybody thought, well, it's either crazy or crazy good. We can't decide that. And also it wasn't clear what it would be used for. With the money from Tigris, the pyramid was completed in 1989. 2 years after construction commenced in Stockport, which completed in 1992. Was Isaac Tigris a mason? Look up the legend of the crystal skull, and you may believe he is. Was there a coordination to build these 2 structures, in the same materials, just a few years apart? If so, why? What was special about this valley, south of Manchester? Could the clue be in the word Goyt? Without the T, Goy means nation. I typed Mersey Roman and this is what resulted. The name Setiae was applied to the combination of today's Ethero and Mersey, the estuary of the Mersey being called the Setiae estuary. Set is an Egyptian deity. If you type it into Google, it's almost the first thing that shows. The Seton name is known from a single source only, the 2nd century Geographia of Ptolemy. Also recorded by Ptolemy is the hydronym Set-Ia, assumed by its position in his text to refer to the river Mersey. What's a hydronym? A hydronym is a type of toponym that designates a proper name of a body of water. Hydronyms include the proper names of rivers and streams, lakes and ponds, swamps and marshes, seas and oceans. Studies the proper names of all bodies of water, the origins and meanings of those names, and their development and transmission through history. Why is there a hieroglyph? Did Ptolemy's writing have a hieroglyph next to the river Mersey? Wikipedia says, the river Mersey is a major river in northwest England. Its name derives from Old English and means boundary river, possibly referring to its having been a border between the ancient kingdoms of Mercia and Northumbria. This offers no explanation at all. Let's get more detail about the Setantai people of Lancashire, and how the name Setia became the Mersey. This is what I found. In the book Tameside before 1066, the author writes, Setantium portus and Setia, from which Rivet and Smith have extrapolated a tribal name, the Setantai. The respective locations of these two geographical features have been taken to be a harbor at or near the mouth of the River Wyre in the Fylde, and the River Mersey with its estuary. This suggests that the territory of the Setantai included the Lancashire coast from Fleetwood to the Mersey. Since Ptolemy does not list this group as a tribe in its own right, it has been inferred that they were part of the Brigantian hegemony. He goes on to say, if the name Setia can be taken to apply to most of the course of the River Mersey, then the Brigantian boundary must have run along this geographical feature. I also want to point out that Aya is a Latinization, so if we take it away, it leaves us with just Set, god of storms and destruction. Is it a coincidence that the Hebrews had to flee Egypt due to destruction? In the book History of Hesham by David Flaxington, an early tribal map of Britain names most of northern England Brigantes, with the coastal area between the Mersey and the Kent estuary named Setantai. These blue-painted savages worship the sun, the letters state, and Druids were their priests. So what about the Mersey? Centuries ago it was indeed written Mersey with no Y. And on Mersyankh? There was a 1, 2, and 3. Mersyankh III was granddaughter of Khufu, builder of the Giza pyramids. The name Mersyankh was changed to Meresankh, and apparently means she loves life. But do you see how this one-letter change to her name has prevented the detection of the true story? Mersyankh II and III, being daughter and granddaughters of Khufu, would have been privy to the construction of the pyramids at Giza. Could the river have been named after one of these queens? Is this the reason for the pyramids at Stockport? As we followed the river toward Liverpool, and the mighty dock which carried trade of sugar, cotton, plantation goods from Africa, what do we find about the name of this city? A few general remarks which have been given by some authors on the original spelling of the word Liverpool. Leland, who made his itinerary in the reign of Harry VIII, writes at Learpole and Liverpool. Camden writes at Litherpool. Morey in his dictionary. Learpole, Liverpool and Liverpool. In the pedigree of the Moore family of Bankhall, in the Harleian manuscripts, the name is written Liverpool, and afterwards twice repeated Lerpool. Leland in like manner must have known that in the original patent of King John, and reign of Henry III, it is written Liverpool. So it seems that Lev was the root of the name. And this confirms what I found about the rivers Idro and Goit. They are Hebrew in origin. Then, finding this seal impression which shows Liverpool, there is a star and crescent, which was a Roman and Byzantine symbol. The item in the mouth of the bird looks like a fleur-de-lis. Liverpool was developed as a city much earlier than is accepted. The waterways so famous in the northwest of England were already built. In 1930, Sir Edwin Lutyens was commissioned to design the second cathedral for the city, on a massive scale. It would have been the largest cathedral in the world, bigger than St. Paul's in London and St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. But the project had to be cut back due to the economic constraints made by World War II. The crypt is all that remains of the construction started. We can see the impressive brickwork in this image, and yes, I do believe this 1930s photograph to be real. When the less expensive new design was approved, a concrete pyramid was placed above the staircase leading down to the Lutyens crypt. Notice the logo. Was this a Masonic entrance? Is there a secret to Liverpool that only, until now, the elect have known? The idea that people from Egypt migrated to the British Isles, forced to leave their land behind due to environmental destruction, civil war, some greater annihilation? Early photographs of this land show a blackened landscape. The Sphinx in Egypt and the ziggurat in Samaria, both photographed as charred and burnt stone. On the doors of the new Cathedral of Liverpool, an intriguing commission. I found that the sculptor references the book of Ezekiel. Out of the midst therefore came the likeness of 4 living creatures. They had the likeness of a man. And everyone had 4 faces and everyone had 4 wings. And Revelation 4. and round the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth beast was as a flying eagle. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within. Another thing I have looked at is the seal of Liverpool, recorded as an illustration but lost in the 1600s. We can never trust these illustrations because historians change the lettering and meanings of words. I put it into Photoshop. The top half has been reversed so that Liverpool should read backwards. Sigif or Sigif, Kanwan. I think this is actually Sigil. Kanwan is Irish and translates to chief. In the middle is Iohis, supposedly an abbreviated form of the name Johannes or King John. But I see no apostrophe. If this is the print, why are we seeing it backwards? I checked what appears to be Siqoi against various languages, and this is what I found. Siqoi in Zulu means we are strong. I found this image of Liverpool Castle, and then searched for castles, Zulu, to see if I could find anything which matched architecturally. I was distracted by this image. Apparently Zulu royalty wear leopard skins. Mersyankh wears leopard skin. Mersyankh's mother's hair is blonde and cropped. Was she of the Mundari tribe of South Sudan? Then I found this image. Is it not the exact same style that Mersyankh wears in this statuette? For me this is strong evidence that Mersyankh or Meresankh was Mundari. And possibly her mother Hetepheres was Zulu. Back to Liverpool Castle. Originally built upon the river in Liverpool, the castle was probably erected in the 1230s to protect King John's new port. By the 1500s it was in a state of destruction and decay, so that nothing remains of it today. In the 19th century Lord Leverhulme instructed a scale replica to be built on his estate just outside Bolton. This estate is called Rivington and has many interesting water features and terraces. It's a place of real mystery. If you're an old world YouTuber, you'll know that these claims should be taken with skepticism. Rivington Gardens was likely to have been built a lot further back in history. Perhaps there never was a castle in Liverpool, and this was the actual place of importance, 31 miles to the west. As someone commented on a tourist website, I think it has a very Aztec vibe to it. I don't know why I think that, but it's just what I see when I look around. This is Rivington Pike. But I've seen this shape before. It's North African, the shape of the door, the shape of the top. Can we say that Rivington Gardens was built by the same hand? Perhaps. Look at these arches. So I'm thinking that the Moors built this place, as they were masters of water channeling. Liverpool Castle was Moorish. Kanwan is a bit of a mystery, but I think it holds the key in tying this together. Interestingly, the name is most commonly found in Nepal, but also somewhere else. South Africa. How old is that seal of Liverpool, and where is the real item? These are stunning findings, for a region that pioneered the waterways and channels, canals and docks. But were these homegrown engineers? Or did they come from afar? The joke here should soon start to quiet. So what of the Goid Valley? Nation. Flock. A flock is the movement of a group from one place to another, a relocation. The rivers Udro and Goid would have been named at the same time as the Mersey. But the Hebrews and the Egyptians were two distinct people. Well, I think this uncovers something huge, yet elusive. I couldn't comprehend why the doors of the new Cathedral of Liverpool displayed birds which appeared to be Sumerian. Have I found Egypt or Sumeria, in the northwest of England? It would make sense of why the Stockport Pyramid was intentional in looking Egyptian or Mayan, as the architect said. Perhaps he really meant Sumerian. The coincidences here are too apparent to ignore. There's no other city in England so Egyptian.